Okay, so for the floor cogs that we're going to do now, we're basically learning to integrate the movement of the pelvis, the rib cage, the neck, and the jaw all into one kind of cohesive cog system where they move like this. All that happens is when we move like this, we get a lot of relative motion between different joints, which is just really, really nice to kind of get some movement into your system. This is really nice movement if you've got a kind of stiff neck, stiff shoulders, stiff back, stiff hips, anything really. The important part that I would encourage you to do is really tune into what you feel whilst you're doing this. Is there any areas that don't particularly move well whilst you're doing it? And then as you do this every day over the next week or two, notice how those things change. And whilst you're doing the exercise, once you've got used to the movements, because it takes a little bit of time to learn what parts are moving where, give some extra attention to those maybe reluctant areas that don't really want to move. So put your attention and your focus on those areas as a little bit of an extra. So you're going to lie down on your back, and what we're going to do is, firstly, I want you just to move your pelvis. So I'm going to tilt my pelvis forwards, which you should feel create a big arch in my back and lift my back up off the floor. And then I'm going to tilt my pelvis all the way the other way, which you should feel lift your tailbone off the floor and flatten your back into the floor. Now, the important part of this is I don't want you to kind of use a load of tension. I don't want to use a load of tension in my back to pull my pelvis forwards, and I don't want to use a load of tension in my abs to pull me forwards like this. I want to do it as relaxed as possible, okay? So tilting the pelvis forwards and back, nice and slow and smooth. The next thing is that as I tilt my pelvis forwards, you should feel, and you can see now, watch my chin. So as I tilt my pelvis forwards, it kind of naturally drags my chin down a little bit, and then the opposite happens there. So we're just going to exaggerate that. As you tilt your pelvis forwards, you're going to tuck your chin to your chest. As I release my pelvis and tuck it backwards, I'm going to just gently look above me, and then the same again. Now, the third part of this cog, once we've got these two moving in a row, is my rib cage. So as I tilt the pelvis backwards and I look above me, you should feel your ribs almost collapse down a little bit, whereas when I tilt my pelvis forwards and tuck my chin, you can see my rib cage kind of flares up a little bit, okay? Just exaggerate that a little bit. Again, not creating any excess tension. For me, I find it hardest when I'm doing this, and I'm sensing it right now. I find it quite easy to flare my rib cage, but when I'm coming back, my rib cage doesn't want to depress down and back. That's something that I need to work on myself. But you'll start to notice different directions that maybe you're not wanting to move in, and that's something to watch, track, and follow over the next few weeks. The final part of this is, as I tuck my chin, tilt my pelvis forwards and flare my ribs, I'm going to push my jaw forwards, protract my jaw as much as I can. And then as I tilt backwards, look above me, my jaw's just going to fall back. And then the opposite. Okay, and then the final layer, once you've got all those movements, is we're going to inhale as we tuck our chin and push our jaw forwards. And exhale through our nose as we go the other way. Okay, so that's our floor cogs. Take a while to really just learn the movements so you don't have to think about them, and then you can start putting your attention on what's moving, what's not moving, and give the bits that are moving a little bit of extra thought, attention, and love.